Igniting, inspiring, and evoking the fire within. You're listening to the What's Your Inspiration podcast with Fox Buyer.
Hello, everybody. I'd like to share a story today that I think is appropriate for this time during the coronavirus pandemic. And first of all, I want to wish all of you safety and health during this time, and that you continue to practice safety and health so that we can return to what will be our new normal as soon as possible. So this book that I read back in December is called Nonetheless, We Persisted. And one of the stories in this book is that of Matthew Burgess. Now, his story begins early on in his childhood. And like most of us, he had ups and downs. And a couple of his downs were these. Around the age of 14, the family's babysitter, named Debbie, was killed in a car accident. And then only a couple of years later, his sister's boyfriend died in a car wreck. And like anybody would, he struggled through the grieving process of both of these events. But eventually he turned to reading, and reading was his therapy. He read a book called Sonnets to Orpheus, written by Rainer Maria Rilke in 1923. It's a compilation of 55 sonnets that really spoke to him. And nowadays, Matthew is a professor, a poet, and an author of many books, including Slippers from Elsewhere. Now, what does this teach us? I think a couple of things that can be applied to this time and any time. First, patience and courage will help you find your tribe. And if you want to make something of yourself, help someone else. And just to go back as well, here's how I want to help you. Just want to pass these things on as you go through your life in the coming weeks and months. One, realize that when you fail at something, it doesn't make you a failure. That, two, make yourself irreplaceable simply by being yourself. Stay away from comparing yourself to others, because oftentimes, as my friend and podcast interviewee, Candy Graves, said, oftentimes when we compare ourselves to someone else, we compare our worst to their best. Instead of doing that, take the best from people you meet and make that your own. Right? Additionally, practice mindfulness. I think what mindfulness does is it keeps us from dwelling on the past and becoming depressed, and worrying about the future and becoming anxious. All we have is right here and right now. Master the present moment. And finally, invest in time with people that you trust. When you do that, I believe it represents, it's a form of continuing education. Right? Again, stay well, stay safe. And if you have a story of grit and gumption, I'd love to hear about it, have you share it on my podcast, on this podcast. Please email me at fox@foxbuyer.com. That's FOX@FOXBEYER.com. Thanks, and take good care.
You have been listening to the What's Your Inspiration podcast with Fox Buyer, because impact on each other is the greatest currency you could ever have.